guys, the Black Critic Guy. Now, a few days ago, I posted on my Facebook fan page, link in the description if you have not liked it yet, that I was very interested in doing another top 10 list since I haven't done one in quite some time, and I really enjoy doing list-based videos. And so I asked you guys, what top 10 lists would you like to see me do on this channel? And you guys gave a lot of interesting responses, but the two that really stood out to me and really resonated with me was a few of you asked me to do a top 10 list of anime and movies that I disliked that a lot of people loved, and anime and movies that I really liked but a lot of people really hated. All of the Nostalgia Critic, he kind of did the same thing as well, and I'm kind of borrowing or ripping him off, but I think I could, make it a bit different and add my own unique take on it. But so I'm gonna be doing this for the next 4 days, giving you a top 10 list every day on the anime and movies that I either didn't like but everyone else loved, or animes that I really liked and other people just couldn't understand why I liked them. And to kickstart this special event, we're gonna start off with my top 10 anime that I dislike but everyone loves. Now, I didn't use the word hate because honestly, I don't necessarily hate these animes. I just really couldn't get into them and they just never really appealed to me. And that got me a lot of hate from people that adored and loved these animes. Starting off our list at number 10 is Hotarubi no Mori, a 44-minute long OVA about these two characters. One is a boy that's like a spirit and he can't touch humans, and then he meets this girl in the woods one day and they kind of form this relationship. I just really couldn't get into the story of this OVA, and I really never felt a bond between the two characters. I will say that the ending is sort of sentimental, but since I didn't really care about their relationship to begin with, there was just no weight at the end of it all. Now, the reason that this one is so low on the list is because I didn't really get a huge backlash for my dislike of this OVA. A lot of people were just really disappointed and let down that I didn't find it sweet, charming, and touching, and were very confused as to why a guy who considers himself a lover and supporter of the romance genre couldn't get into a story about this young couple that kind of fall in love. And again, it just never really appealed to me, and I never really felt a connection between the two leads. That's why I just didn't like it, and I found it rather boring. My number 9 choice is Noragami. Now, when I reviewed this anime last year, a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, were so angry at me that I gave this anime the terrible score of 3 out of 5? It's okay? I mean, guys, that's not a bad score. That just means that it's slightly above average and that it missed out on so many opportunities to really expand the story, which is one of the main criticisms that I had with the anime. The fact that they have all these characters, but they don't really explain where these characters come from, why they are doing this, the relationship between some of these characters. There's just a lot of missed opportunities and wasted opportunities in this anime that I really was just let down by the entire thing. Not to mention the fact that it was promoting itself as an action anime and it barely had any action in it. That's like a comedy anime promoting the fact that it's a comedy and has maybe 1 or 2 chuckles in the entire series. Again, I don't hate this anime, and if they make a second season, I will definitely go and watch it so I can see them expand more on the lore, which has a lot of potential to it. It's just that for its first season, it felt very lackluster, which made me really dislike it. Blowing up buildings and causing mayhem is my number 8 choice, Zankyou no Terror, or Terror in Resonance. Now, I reviewed this anime just a few months ago, and the backlash was real. Even though I went into great detail as to why I just couldn't get into the story and why it never really appealed to me. The two main characters are just not likable and not relatable. I don't sympathize with them at all, and what their purpose of doing things, it just didn't really make sense to me. It didn't resonate with me. See what I did? Oh my god. I think the main reason why people were so mad that I gave this such a low score is because it was made by the same guy who did Cowboy Bebop, Kids on the Slope, and Samurai Champloo. Apparently this guy can do no wrong to most people. Anything that he makes is just pure gold. And to that I say bullshit. Just because you made a masterpiece in the past doesn't mean you'll continue to make masterpieces in the future. Take M. Night Shyamalan, for example. The story had a lot of potential, but it just missed its mark completely. Trying to have sex with 100 different guys is my number 7 choice, Gata H Kei. Yet another anime that I recently reviewed that got a lot of backlash for my thoughts on it, mainly due to the fact that a lot of people felt like I made an unfair assessment that the anime was a huge cop-out, which promised us that this girl would have different encounters with different guys, but ends up having her follow this one generic dude throughout the entire anime and trying to get into his pants. And I felt like a lot of people didn't understand where I was coming from, so let me explain it a little bit more here. With a story like Gata H Kei, the opportunities for comedic situations were endless. I wasn't saying that she should have sex with 100 different guys. You could still keep the main guy there, and she just keeps ending up with him, even though she tries to make all these passes to other guys. It's just that when you just take this concept and just make it a generic romantic comedy, it ruins all of that potential that you set up for it, and it just makes it another conventional by the numbers romantic comedy when it could have been so much more. Which goes back to the reoccurring theme for all the anime on this list. It just felt like wasted potential, a missed opportunity that the writers, creators could have taken but decided to cop out and tell a generic story instead. And speaking of romantic comedies and bait and switch, we got my number 6 choice, Toradora. Now, when I first reviewed this anime way back in 2011, I didn't really get that huge of a backlash. Most people were pretty understanding of my opinions and what I had to say about the anime, but I mean, back then I only had, what, 100, 200 subscribers, so not a lot of people were watching me to begin with. But now that I have a larger audience, a lot of people are kind of irked that I didn't love Toradora. I'm not praising Toradora for how great it was. And the reason for that is because when I went into Toradora, I went in with the mindset that it was going to be a romantic comedy and that I was gonna be laughing but also be touched at the same time. It had to have a good balance. And for the first 10 episodes, it did. But after episode 10, the anime just went downhill. It just became a huge melodrama at the same level as Clannad. It's just nobody died. And I just really wasn't ready for that. And I know what a lot of you are gonna say in the comments now. He wasn't ready, he wasn't ready. But it's true, nobody told me I was gonna get smacked in the face with this melodrama. It just kind of came out of nowhere and I was like, wow, the tone of the anime has really changed at this point. Not to mention that every character that I ended up liking in the beginning, I started to slowly hate by the end. I just felt like all their problems were so petty and that everyone was being way too vague about their feelings. It just caused me to get more irritated and I just was no longer having fun with the anime. I just never understood why this anime got so many praise as being one of the best romantic comedy animes out there when there's barely any comedic moments in the latter half of the anime. It just becomes more of a drama than it was a comedy. And yeah, those are my thoughts about Toradora. It was just a huge buzzkill, and if you like it, fine, that's okay, but I couldn't handle it anymore. Sparking my fiery hatred for incest in anime is my number 5 choice, Ori no Imouto. Do I even need to explain my reasons as to why I don't like this anime or why it doesn't appeal to me? I'm not a huge fan of incest in anime, and that's all this anime is about. This older brother discovers that his little sister is into eroji games and into all these otaku stuff, and he kind of bonds with her, but at the same time, he's starting to realize, wow, my sister's pretty cute. And at that moment, I'm like, what? Dude. You saying cute as in, you know, she's adorable, or you saying cute as in, man, my sister, oh my god, my sister's so cute, oh god, I can't stop thinking about her. It's the latter, not the former, by the way. Not only that, but if you watch my review, which I don't really recommend because I feel like it's a very weak review, but I use the phrase to a degree a lot in that review because most of the concepts, they were good to a degree. It's just that they never reached their full potential. Like, they just missed a few pieces from being excellent. And honestly, that's all I gotta say. I don't really have a deep philosophical reason as to why I don't like this anime. I just not a huge fan of incest, and it just didn't hit the mark for me. That's it. If you love it, which a lot of people do, because a lot of people are like, how do you not like Ori no Imouto? I got a lot of hate for that, which really surprised and disappointed me a lot, but Hey, I mean, to each their own, right? Confusing the ever-loving shit out of me is my number 4 choice, Serial Experiments Lain. Now, I have seen a couple of videos that do explain what the story of Serial Experiments Lain is. In fact, my good friend Darkness Dragoon Rose, who I haven't talked to in a long time, I kind of miss that guy, he loved this anime and he would send me videos all the time that explains what the story is, what the concept is. But even with all the explanations, I still really can't get attached to this anime. It doesn't appeal to me. It's not as interesting or captivating of a story to me. Personally, I felt like the anime, for lack of a better word, felt very pretentious. Like, oh, we're so deep and philosophical and you don't understand us. That makes us so cool and hip and people will be talking about us for ages and everyone's gonna love us. But I don't see it that way. I saw it as a person trying really hard to be vague and not explaining anything, and it just really just leaves you confused. Twirling her way into the number 3 spot is Princess Tutu, the only anime on this list that not only have I not finished, but I'm considering watching again because I felt like I was a bit unfair in my assessment. I don't think that it is a 0 out of 5. It's just that for the first 8 episodes, I was so bored. The animation was so terrible and dim. There was no life to it. And if an anime doesn't have life, if a story does not have life in it, I'm not gonna find it all that appealing. But a lot of you have defended this anime and requested me to go watch it again, and I just might do that, but as of right now, I still don't find it all that appealing. Even with all the things you guys have said, I just can't push myself to watch this anime. I find the main character Duck really annoying, and the fact that her name is Duck and she really is a duck. What? Why even name her Duck? You could have named her so many other things, but calling her Duck and she's actually a duck just seemed way too obvious and on the nose. You could have done better there. But again, we'll see what the future holds. Maybe I will watch Princess Tutu and maybe I might like it, but as it stands now, I still don't see why everyone loves it so much. What's so great about it? It seems so bland. It's like Twilight, the anime version, with ballerinas. That's what it feels like to me. Ever the pessimistic outview on life is my number 2 choice, Oregairu. This one for sure got me a lot of hate, as a lot of people love this anime and felt like it was wholly original and very unique, telling the story of this guy who's very pessimistic and has a very pessimistic outlook on life, and he meets these 2 kind of bubbly girls. Well, one of them's very bubbly and the other one's kind of like him, and it's just a show that doesn't appeal to a guy like me, a guy that enjoys very lively, energetic, and bubbly people. Even the one character that is very bubbly in the show, she later on becomes a huge downer, and the anime just doesn't appeal to me. I don't really have much of a deeper reasoning behind it other than the fact that it doesn't appeal to me. Yeah, the story is interesting at some points. There are some interesting characters, but the fact that I don't resonate with the main character or even attach to him, I don't really care about his journey, is a huge problem, especially when you're supposed to be invested in the main character. He is the character you're following. And if you can't attach to the main character, then what's the point of watching his story? You're not gonna give a shit. And I know many of you have said or are going to say that the second season is way better than the first, and I might watch it, but I make no promises because, again, it's just a story that doesn't really appeal to me, and if I didn't really like the first season, I don't really have much hopes for the second season. But none come close to my number 1 choice. I remember when I reviewed this anime and I uploaded the video, moments after I uploaded it, I had 5 dislikes immediately, and I've heard so much praise about this anime, and people are saying how artistic it is and how inventive and its use of puns with the Japanese language and yada yada blah blah blah. You probably know what I'm talking about now, and that is Bakemonogatari. Now I understand that the name Bakemonogatari is also a play on words, as Bakemono is monster in Japanese and Monogatari I believe is story in Japanese, so it's like monster story and they mixed it together. It's clever and all, it's not interesting. The story is not captivating and it's a bait and switch. The first episode had the most action in it, and in fact I later found out that that was actually the story, the first story in this series of stories, because Bakemonogatari, I think, is the second story. There's a story before that, and honestly, I'd rather have saw the story before it, because that looked more interesting, that looked more compelling, and it looked like I would be more invested in the character. And the sad part is that this story had so much potential. I mean, our main character is apparently a vampire, or a former vampire, and he meets this really cool girl named Senjo Kohara, and so much shit is going on, and it's just so much visual imagery thrown at your face with the puns, and it just got really, really tedious, guys. Oh my god. It was one of the hardest animes to sit through. I couldn't bear watching it. You can love it all you want, guys, but that doesn't change the fact that Bakemonogatari is the #1 anime that I dislike that everyone loves. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was my list of the top 10 animes I dislike that everyone loves. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of backlash and flack for my opinions, but just keep in mind, these are my opinions. And speaking of opinions, what did you guys think about this list? Did you agree with most of my choices or some of them? Or did you disagree with all of them and you hate my fucking guts and you're gonna hit that unsubscribe button? And let me know, what are animes that you personally dislike that everyone else just loves? Comment below and let me know. And stay tuned for the next 3 top 10 lists that will be coming your way. Well, actually, one of them is not really a top 10 list, it's a top 5 list, but you'll see what I mean when it comes along. But until the other videos come, guys, if you would like to be a part of the Black Critic crew and not miss out on a single awesome video on this channel, please hit that subscribe button below, like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm 21 this second, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube!